Greetings, my saplings. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the Nike and Off-White Zoom Fly in pink and also black. To be specific, like always in these videos, we will be discussing some release info and some background information, how to cop them, and of course, like always guys, some resale predictions. We're going to be kicking it off with the background information, but if you're not interested in the background information and you just came here for the how to cop, that's completely understandable. Feel free to skip to this portion of the video, but for the rest of you, let's jump right into this. Ever since November of 2017, we have been seeing multiple iterations of each silhouette from the 10. When it comes to the Off-White Zoom Fly, we initially saw the pair drop in a translucent white colorway. Following the initial drop, we saw two more pairs of Off-White Zoom Flies drop in orange and black. This time, however, a fly-knit upper was implemented to both pairs. They wanted to essentially create a silhouette that honored football, or I guess you could call it soccer in the United States. For example, the dots on each shoe honor the rigorous training regimen of athletes as they perfect their strikes. With those though, moving to October, we got our first official look at the Off-White Zoom Fly in black and pink. The pair was initially set to drop on the 13th according to the SNS countdown page, which was later deleted. This would have been a great BCA shoe for October, but I suppose we could still show support all year round, I guess. But it is important to note that this was not Virgil's intent, although we may use the shoe for this purpose. Anyway, these sneakers are going to be dropping November 28th for $170. Alright, so with that out of the way, why don't we jump into the how to cop portion of this video. Why don't we kick it off with the 3 a.m. Eastern Time releases. So first of all, we have two queues that are going to be at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, the first of which will be Soulbox, and I think all of us know by now that Soulbox is definitely not the best release, but of course, I want to mention it to you guys just so you have everything and you know everything. Of course, I definitely still think it's worth trying just for the heck of it, but then in addition to Soulbox, we also have Foot Patrol dropping at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, both of which, again, are via a queue. So with this queue, you can use the multiple people jig since it is a randomized process for entry. But they do track your IP address, so you do risk getting IP banned. Now, I think it's completely worth the risk, especially because to get out of the ban, all it takes is about 8 hours or so. Or you can set up a hotspot on your phone or even use a VPN if you happen to have one. So yes, I would recommend using multiple Chrome users for this drop to enhance your chances of getting into the page where you're able to add to cart. If you're wondering what my opinion is for Soulbox or Foot Patrol, by far, it's definitely Foot Patrol. I've seen far more success off of there, but still, I don't want you guys to get your hopes up. The last shoe I copped off of Foot Patrol was the Court Purples and Pine Greens, so still, it's possible that you'll cop these Off-Whites, but you have to understand that they are more limited and also in higher demand than those Court Purples and Pine Greens. Also, expect that it's going to be very difficult to submit your payment. It's taken me multiple times of trying to re-enter my same info over and over again, but eventually you may see some luck, so don't give up. Anyway, also at 3 a.m. Eastern Time, we have Dover Street Market London dropping via a first come first serve. Now I think a lot of you know by now that bots usually destroy Dover Street Market, whether it's New York, London, Singapore, or Japan. But after seeing how well some of you manual users did on the CDG Air Force One drop, not just on Supreme, but also on Dover Street Market, I think that we still do have a chance. So if you happen to be within Europe, I would suggest giving this a try. Unfortunately, for this release only, I do believe they are not doing US shipping, but lucky for us US citizens, most likely at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Dover Street Market New York will be dropping these as well. Now, you have to understand something about Dover Street Market New York. There will be a password page, and basically the password page will look like this. It'll say Dover Street Market eFlash coming soon. If you see that it has a /password, I want you guys to copy and paste the link without the /password and hit enter on that instead of just refreshing, because even when it goes live, we learned this with Yeezy Supply, basically you're gonna stay there even when it goes live. Also, of course, in advance, you can feel free to make a bookmark, but I think we all just have to be aware that, you know, copying on Dover Street Market is still going to be unlikely considering that this is a shoe in very high demand and limited quantity. Anyway, moving on to 8 a.m. Eastern Time, if you have 2,000 LVR points, you can obtain these points by either spending money on the site. I believe it's $1 per point or something along the lines of that. Every tweet or share gets you about 20 points. So if you guys want to do this, feel free, but it is only for people with 2,000 points, unfortunately. Those of you will have a chance to cop these via a first come first serve. Anyway, for all my people out in Europe, or also US people, or really anyone who has a shipper, of course, like always, Off-White will be dropping at a random time, usually very early in the morning on Eastern time at least. Obviously for you guys in Europe, it's probably going to be somewhat of a normal time. And then finally, of course, Nike sneakers. They will be releasing on Nike sneakers, luckily. Of course, images loading up onto Nike sneakers doesn't always guarantee a release, but I'm pretty confident that we will be seeing a draw on these, both of which on the same date, on the 28th at 10 a.m. Eastern time for US. And then I believe it is 4 a.m. Eastern time for Europe. Now, I'm not 100% as of now if Canada is going to be getting these. If they were to hypothetically get these, it would be via a first come first serve on the Nike.com site. And then, of course, for the draw for Europe and also for US, of course, you guys are going to want to use as many accounts as possible. I've talked about this multiple times. You guys know what you're doing. You're completely fine. The biggest reminder I want to stress, because a lot of you guys still are getting IP banned. Again, it's 3 accounts max per IP address. If you want to add any more than 3 accounts, make sure you set up a hotspot or a VPN. Also, I'm recording this on the 26th, so just by pattern, I am expecting there to be a sneakers pass tomorrow or the day you're watching this. Not only that, but I am expecting the product pages to come up the day you're watching this. So I guess you could say today. If they don't come up though, if the product page isn't up by the 27th, that's when we should get a little bit worried, because then that's when stuff usually doesn't go as planned. We might not actually see the draw then, and yeah, stress levels tend to rise. But of course, for all small updates, don't worry, I'll keep you guys 100% updated. Turn on post notifications here, and also feel free to follow my Twitter. Also, speaking of my Twitter, hopefully you guys had a chance to sign up for all the raffles for these, because oh my goodness, there were so many raffles, it was ridiculous. So hopefully you guys got a chance for that, but for future reference, again, my Twitter is KeithAdam10. But with the Had a Cop out of the way, why don't we move on to some resale predictions. So do I think they're going to sell out? Of course. If you want a personal pair, you don't want to sleep on these. Are they going to be profitable? Yes, I do think they're going to be profitable, and I understand a lot of you guys are skeptical considering what happened with the Off-White Zoom flies in the orange and black colorways. Now, the black colorway is looking fine now, but initially, you guys have to understand that they were basically looking like lunch money, and that was it. Even now, the orange pair isn't looking great at all, and a lot of this really has to do with low demand. I think we can agree that a lot of people found these shoes unattractive, at least in comparison to other Off-White and Nike releases. And also, you have to note that the retail on those was $200, and the retail on these is only going to be $170, so that definitely leaves a little more room for profit. So I understand a lot of you guys might also be skeptical of the pink pair, but still, I can confidently say that you are going to be making more profit on these in comparison to those, so I wouldn't worry if I were you. But will these be the best Off-White release regarding resale? No, I'm just going to tell you that it's not going to be one of the best ones, but it's going to be better than lunch money, I'll tell you that. Regarding what are the best sizes to go for, unfortunately, when it comes to Zoom flies, there's really no consistency. So unlike a Jordan 1 where I would say go for sizes under 10, in this case, there's nothing I can really tell you. It doesn't really matter. Also, I know a lot of you guys are wondering whether you should sell or hold these. These are 2 of the last 6 Off-White and Nike releases from the 10. So evidently, a lot of people are expecting prices to rise, and this is definitely understandable. But regardless of that, if you happen to have these pairs in hand before they go into circulation, for instance, if your shipment comes in really early and maybe you even watch the tracking number to sell a little bit early, or if you happen to get these in hand from an in-store raffle or anything along the lines of that, I would still recommend selling as soon as possible. However, if your shipment does come in around the normal time, 1 to 2 weeks after the drop, once most pairs are in circulation, of course, by then, it definitely wouldn't hurt to hold on to these, especially because in 6 months or so, I would definitely expect prices to rise on these shoes and really any Nike and Off-White sneaker. But with that, I'm going to conclude today's video. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed or if you perhaps learned a thing or two. Also, subscribe and turn on post notifications to stay 100% updated on any hyped shoe in the future. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.
Now I can't run and I can't walk. You hit me so hard I don't want to talk. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
Why are you always in my way, knocking me over every single day? Get your foot off my foot. Ah.
Get your foot off my foot. Yeah.
I should have run the other way. Now there's just one thing to say. Get your foot off my foot. Ah.